Hey everybody. Well, it's been a couple weeks. I haven't figured out what to do. It's like we have over 600 videos. So welcome back. So we're doing a series of videos. We're doing the Getty, which is my paradise. I'll be doing mostly that. Drawn with my favorite tool, which is the dark chocolate Milky Way candy bar. But the most difficult one for me is this one, which is the book of honesty and integrity. And if you sell your soul, you can only do it once. Um, don't do it. Just be you. Be honest. It'll get you somewhere. It really will. So this book opens up, and when we open this book, we have to tell the truth. It is the opening to your journey, which I think is really a cute statement, and it's the opening to industry truth, I guess. There's a lot going on. We started our school probably 30 years ago. So we've been in the current location that we're at over 20 years, but we were in a storage unit before that. And and it was started by a university because as I told you, I was teaching at one university. I never wanted to teach at a university. I never went to college, but I was teaching at Warner Brothers, and we were teaching massive amounts of schools across the country. So we started at this one school. They asked me if I would teach there, and they figured out a way to get me in. So I was an adjunct in the evening. Really, man, just pounding the fundamentals. And those kids got jobs. They really got jobs. And then I got stolen away to another university where I was there for 23 years. And again, just pounded away on the fundamentals. And those kids got a lot of jobs. So all of that comes together in our school. So there's so much out there now that people are teaching, and I think it's great, but there are a lot of old industry pros that are teaching, and that's good. But I'm also seeing a lot of fan stuff out there, and that's an area where I think is a little dangerous because this is funny. I gave you a piece of my art lesson. All right, let's keep going. That's a really lousy drawing. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and and I'm going to show you some of it. So the fan stuff, all the old timers love to talk about, what they do. Everybody, I'm probably one of the worst. And we just love to talk about the good old days. What was it like to work on this movie and that movie? And, we have our priorities. My priority, of course, is always my wife, who, when I met her, I knew the rest of my life was going to be great. My amazing children, now my grandchildren and students. So my priorities are my wife always first, then my children, then my students, and then my friends. I really kind of worship the students. So when you're out there studying, really think about the fundamentals. And that's what we're going to go over today a little bit in this book of honesty, in this book of integrity. What are the real fundamentals that are going to sustain you throughout your career? Because as we can see right now, it goes through major changes. I'm not afraid of AI at all. I see it as a tool. Um, but I'm also hired to be very creative. So it's more of the concept that I do more than just the actual drawing. So start thinking about that. Um, but when you're with these, the teachers, show me what you had to do to get to where you're at, and show me what you continue to do to stay where you're at, being successful. And that's what we do at our school. We don't just talk about the good old days. We actually say, this is the secret. These are the fundamentals that continue throughout time. Get rid of the depression. I don't think there's ever been an artist out there that's like their work. You're always looking at it going, oh, it's horrible. So keep going, but you don't have to be doing the best drawing in the world on a commercial project because you have deadlines and clients and they don't know what they want. Okay, so here's where we're at. Advice: take a sales class. I got over 18 years in the field, hard ass sales. I mean, the definition of a sales is to provide a service or a product that will withstand the test of time and wear well. I guarantee my products that I do for the life of the product. So a client can call me 20 years later and say, hey, I need a change on this. No problem. I guarantee it. And my cases is for the life of the case. I don't bill by the hour. I bill by the project. Once they pay, that's it. They got it for life. So integrity and learn sales. There's some great stuff out there. Anthony Robbins. My favorite is Roy Chitwood. And here's a true, funny, crazy story. Now, again, we got to get rid of this stuff. There's only two things on my head, really, out of all the years that kind of like haunt you, like, what? So I'm in a meeting at a different university, and the person in charge was a person that I worshipped, um, absolutely worshipped, but never worked directly because he was way up here and I was way down here. I mean, he's the man. And I would just look at him like this, with googly eyes, and he would talk, and I would think, that's my guy. That's my director. He's the best. He's the best. He's the best. And then one day he lowered the boom on me and he said, women do not make good animators because their skulls are smaller. Well, their skulls are smaller. What does that have to do with anything? Talking to a guy who's got 3 daughters and thousands of students, more than half of them are female. Like, what is this? All of a sudden, this stuff is like starting to come my way, which I never asked for. Where were you going with this? So another day, I'm on this call. Here's the dean. Here's this person, which will never mention names. And they are attacking me. Full-blown attack. Because of my lectures. Okay, well, they're all theater, so it's easy. Well, I immediately click into sales, and sales is to find out what the person is actually needing or wanting and then provide it to them. So I thought, let's have some fun. I'm going to just stay right on track. So at the end of the attack, which was fine, if you're going to work in sales and work in the industry and work in advertising, you better have thick skin, especially advertising, which I was really heavily into as an account executive. I mean, I was a suit. I was an account executive, so my job was to be attacked on a daily basis and fix it and get it back out there. It comes to you as an attack. You grab it. You look for the buying motives. You look for what's going on. You look for what the person needs. You provide it for them. Hand it back to them so that they're happy. It's not about you. It's about what they need. So I said this to the dean. I said, if I can provide you what you need and I can teach the same information without the silly jokes and the crazy narratives, could you think of any reason why we shouldn't proceed and give these students what they deserve, which is a continued sustainable education to lead to a career? And he said, no, I can see no reason for that. And by saying no, you say yes. Can you think of any reason why? Not my favorite close, but I thought we'd use it here. So Dean, can you think of any reason why, if I don't provide, get rid of the jokes, get rid of the theater, because it's all theater, and can you think of any reason if I get rid of these jokes and theater that we shouldn't be able to provide our students with a sustainable career and fundamentals that will last their lifetime? And he said, no, sounds great. So by saying no, he said yes. The other person got quiet. I was looking at his face. It was on a Zoom call. It was like, and then he went on to attack again. No, I don't agree with that. No, I think we should do this. And there was the attack. So right there, I understood that the attack was personal, which hurt because this was a person that I worshiped. And that started a battle. And I don't think he understood what he was dealing with. That just because he was the top in the film industry, that didn't make him the top in the skill sets that I had for being a senior account executive, knowing how to deal with arrogant attitudes like he had, and ignorant attitudes like he had. So in the end, I moved on. I always move on. I always got another place, and I think he was forced to retire. Um, my advice to you, as you're taking these classes in the industry and hearing about all the grandiose, wonderful things that happened working on Lion King or whatever, go take a sales class. Take the Dale Carnegie class. Take the Max Axe class. Brian Tracy, Anthony Robbins, Koenig. I immersed myself in those. I signed up for every one that existed, and I went there. There was one where they said, get the client to say 5 yeses, and then you've sold the job. I got up and walked out. And my friends were like, what are you doing? I mean, it's all blue suits, white shirts, red ties, And I said, I have too much integrity for this. That's not the way you sell. Remember, to provide a service or a product that will withstand the test of time and wear well. I'm still working. That guy's not. I still have integrity. He doesn't. And I just wanted to get off my chest. Sorry, sir. Do I still worship you? Yes. Do I pity you? Yes. He didn't qualify to know who he was working with. Yes, he was the top in the animation industry, but not in the business industry. So let's get down to business here. This is your fundamentals. Look at it. So if we look at this, and there's not a whole lot of more stuff to put in the book. This is this guy, Herbert. I found this book at Disneyland. I carried it the whole day. Look at these scribbles. Can you see these? Look at these loose storytelling drawings. Let's see. Look at that. There's some really good stuff in here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at these beautiful drawings. Look how gorgeous. Look at that. Look at this. You would look at this and you say, that's not a good drawing. Tell the story. Tell the story. Look at that. Look at this. See her? She's standing here and he's eating. Okay. So I go to the Getty, and most of the books, because I get to go into the Getty Archives, most of the drawings are just like this. It's super loose. See that? Just like this. So now if we go, I mean, I'm sitting in a library with over 1,500 books. So now we go over here and we see, look, so here's this finished drawing here, which I just did. And look at this, it's super loose. So it's story first. Okay, so let's go grab some. When I'm looking for, oh, look at this. See how loose that is? And that's what those animators are doing. But you're looking, like I saw one online, and they're showing the finished work, the finished stuff from the movie. That's not what you're going to see. Most of the movie, this is so funny. Every time I wanted to see something finished, I got the scribbles. And now that I want the scribbles, I'm getting all this finished. Here we go. Look at this. It's the same. This was probably done, I don't know, 1954. So way before I was born, but still 1954. And this was done when I was in high school, which was probably 600 before that. Oh yeah, 1612. I graduated high school right around 1620 in Rome. And these are the drawings that we were doing. And this is 1954, which I wasn't born yet. But I was born here, but I wasn't born here. And it's the same exact thing. Welcome to the logic of our school. So let's have some fun. Let's just draw, just with this pen. Let's just grab anything. Grab a serious word here. And now I'm going to get all this scribbly stuff. So funny. Okay. Come on. So I've done those stage things where you stand there and you sit there and drink water and just draw this. And people ask questions and stuff, and it doesn't really mean anything. So I'm not going to pick up the pen. I'm just going to move it around. And at this school that I taught at, was the same school, they didn't let the students show their portfolios, which again blew my mind. Like, what are you talking about? No, we don't want them to show their portfolios. What we want them to do is ask an intelligent question. And then the speakers will remember them from their questions and give them a job. No. So I forced my students to show those speakers their portfolios. And those kids got in trouble for showing their portfolios. But the speakers went to another school, which was close by, which was a state school, and they showed their portfolios. And their question, I found out later, was, why did the other school show their portfolio? This is the kind of stuff you better be thinking about when you're students. Look at them changing this leg. So now I'm at another school where I'm teaching at. I taught a lot of schools. That's crazy for a guy who didn't go. Look at this. This is almost good. Look at. I'm going to turn this into a Rubens. Classic. It's a classic pose, same as Rubens. So I don't usually go to these events. I don't have time. I fly in, teach. Go. This is a school that I used to fly into, and so I actually had a question for the speaker, and my question was, what do you put in your portfolio so that the person reviewing the portfolio, because I was on portfolio review at the studio, what do you want to see that can show that they can draw Fat Albert, He-Man, and My Little Pony, and do you want to see the process? And I raised my hand and I asked the question. I was sitting with the students. I wasn't sitting with the professors. I wasn't Mr. Hotsy Totsy. I didn't really care. I was sitting with the students because that's what I am. I'm a student, teaching student. And the guy blew me off. He didn't answer my question. So I raised my hand and I said, he goes, yeah. I said, you didn't answer my question. He said, what do you want to see? Let's say you're working on, He-Man, but the next show is Pirates of the Caribbean. What do you want to see that would make you feel comfortable knowing that the person could do both, and do you want to see the process? And again, he blew me off. So I raised my hand. Well, my TA is texting me saying, shut that up. My boss is going like this. And I asked the question again, and he finally gave me a decent answer. So I said, thank you. You're there, guys. You're paying. Get your answers, but make sure they're clear. And this was an answer I really wanted to know. So after it, I walked up and I said, I didn't want to be rude, but, every student in this room, and it was packed, hundreds of students, has studied with me at least once. And I was just really curious on the question. And I said, my name is Sheldon Bornstein. And he said, you're Sheldon. He goes, I studied with you. You were my teacher. And I said, nice to meet you. And I called my boss over and I said, talk to him. He goes, you were amazing. A lot of what I do every day was from you. Well, it was from me because I told him the truth. It was really fun. I didn't remember him, but, he remembered me. So, for the teachers out there, tell the truth. So if you notice, I'm just moving this pen around. And for this became the direction that this pen wanted to go. Let the pen tell the story. Let it flow. It's like music. All right, so I don't really see a lot of heavy truth stories coming up. These are, this one was one that really haunted me for a long time because it wasn't as it seemed. The person really shocked me. And I don't know. I hope the person's doing well today. I wish for the person the health and happiness. I wish it far away from me. The human skull of the male Homo sapien biped is squarer here. It's a little bigger. Squared off chin. The angle, I got to look it up in my book, but the angle I think is more straight. It's bigger because there's more air in there. It's a male. Males have way more air in here. The female is rounder, more compact. They have a round chin, and I think the angle of the mandible is like a more, kind of diagonal. The reason why it's smaller is because women are smarter than men, and they're more compact, and it's just tight. That brain is perfect, and the female is just superior to male. How do I know that? 3 daughters and 1 wife. Then I make sure I know what I'm saying. Okay, so here's the drawing. Here's the drawing. And here's the drawing. And here's the drawing. And they're all the same DNA. And that's probably, look at that horse. Wow, that isn't beautiful. That's about it. For the religious people, I have to say I've had a very blessed life and still do. Still working a lot. Still putting in my 14-day weeks. But kept my integrity, kept my honesty. Look at that. So pretty. Okay. So in the end, what this book is telling you, before you graduate from college, take a sales class. I used to give it to my students in the college. We used to do 1 day of going through just massive, sales, the process of it. And they called it the business talk, and it became very popular. It was online for a while. The kids really liked it because it's honest. Okay. If you're not honest and you haven't qualified the person you're attacking, and you haven't researched thoroughly that the person you're attacking has over 18 years of training and in the field, sales on huge accounts, dealing with big problems, and you haven't done the research, then you deserve to get hurt. So I hope this person's doing well. I love you. I care about you, but I never want to see you again. Okay, so we got it. Let's close this book of honesty and let's move on to what I love, which is real drawing. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. For the college student, it's your responsibility. Come to our school because we find the right school for you and we help you figure it out, and then we help you put your portfolio together. So you can definitely do that. Just go to Sheldon Art Academy online, look it up, call the school. We're actually a brick and mortar. We've been there for over 20 years, and it doesn't allow you to be flying around giving talks because, I don't know how these people do it. They're going from place to place to place, and conference to conference, and, being all bitchin'. And I eat lunch and get to my school and sit down and listen to my students and really listen to them. And I use sales because I want to know what they need. And I ask them the right questions in the right way. And then I start putting together the resources for them. Yeah, make sure they get what they want. So again, if you don't totally love your students and really care about it, don't be a teacher. And be careful who you attack, because you might find that they're a little bit lower on the animation scale, but really high in the advertising scale, and you're going to get hurt and you're going to get burned. And I think they did. Okay, you guys, I think we're done with this book for a while. I want to move on to what I love, which is the Getty, where I don't talk and I just draw and love art. Okay, I'll talk to you then.